Hello and welcome to another episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff. I'm Mike Evans.
And I'm David Price.
And David, on this week's Hi-Fi Riff, what are we going to talk about?
Your new sofa, Mike.
We got a new sofa, I know. How cool is this? Complete with my Rush light behind us.
Yes.
Look, I've got a little remote control, I can change the colour. But if I put it on...
You do surprise me.
If I put it on red...
You're not the sort of person who'd normally be interested in that sort of thing, are you, Mike?
If I put it on red, then the camera doesn't pick it up very well, because it really should be red. Because the Starman's white and the Rush... I'm being boring now. Shall I move on? I'll move on. It's a nice sofa though, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yes, it's, I put it together yesterday. I hope you're impressed.
Yes,
very impressed. We're sitting the correct side. That's the most important bit, isn't it? So we haven't changed that for those of you who worry about these things.
So it is a 3-person sofa though.
It is.
So
yes.
We can, have victims, as it were, on the hi-fi couch.
Absolutely, yes.
I mean interviewees.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah. We need to get someone in. We haven't. Don't think we've done an interview since we did an interview with Jez Kerr from Kerr Acoustics. We need to find somebody who's willing to come and be bored out of their mind with us and talk about
unsuspecting victims.
But there's normally a pint in it afterwards for you, so we do reward you in the correct manner. So watch this space for 2024.
Yes.
So good stuff. Anyway, so apart from my sofa, what else are we going to be talking about today?
Yeah, well, we are going to be talking about the Nagaoka MP-110, 110.
Very nicely pronounced.
And that's, for those of you who don't know, that is a Phono cartridge. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not interested in vinyl, there's probably not much point in watching any further.
And if you are interested in vinyl, there's probably still not much point in watching any further.
Mike, you're not supposed to say that. So I think
we know it's true.
I think that's going off message. So, but actually, we've hardly covered any cartridges. I don't think we've ever done
a cartridge review. No. So, and do you know what's really sad about that is we've we've grown up loving different cartridges, and we've always been massive cartridge fans.
Yeah.
And waxed lyrical about different cartridges which we've owned over the years.
Yeah.
And you, in particular, way more than I have listened to. I dread to think how many.
Yes.
And we were talking about this earlier actually, but I was saying when David has to do group tests. For cartridges, it must be a real pain to have to sort of swap 6 or 7 cartridges in the same tone arm over and over again and do the listening. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, is it?
Yeah, well, thankfully I haven't done any for a long time.
You've delegated those beautifully.
Yes, but no, absolutely, and that's when a tone arm with a detachable head shell comes in handy.
100%.
And you can see why, back in the old days when we used to read those hi-fi mags with group tests of cartridges, then they all often pretended they were all doing it with a Linn Ecos or something.
Yes,
I bet they had a Technics SL1200.
That's right, with a detachable head shell. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
And why not?
Yeah.
In fact, it was nice to see you at work today. I put David to work today. He fitted a cartridge for me on my name Arrow, which was really cool, and we got that up and running. In fact, a Nagaoka cartridge.
Well, this is absolutely the cartridge.
Yes, yeah.
So
we've just spent a very merry afternoon listening to it.
Yes, and it's a very interesting thing, and we shall be delving deeper. But first, before so we need one of those diversions, Mike, because we haven't, we haven't kind of sort of gone off the topic yet.
Well, we have talked about the sofa, my Rush light.
Okay. All right. Well, I'd just like to say, because it's a very sad day.
Yes. Okay.
The great David Soul.
Yes, the late great
David
Soul.
You just spoiled it for me now.
I'm so sorry.
He's passed away.
He has.
So we are both huge Starsky and Hutch fans.
Yes, and Huggy Bear.
Yeah. So there we go.
And look, what's happened? He's given up on us, baby.
Don't call me baby.
Sorry.
That's in very poor taste.
It's in really poor taste. So, I think David Soul would laugh though.
Well, maybe he would.
Maybe he wouldn't.
Yes. Well, if it's a Mike joke, actually, but maybe he wouldn't.
Probably wouldn't.
So, there we go. But I do have a Huggy Bear story.
Do you?
So I've never met Paul Michael Glaser, who's Starsk, and I've never met David Soul, who is Hutch, but I have met Huggy Bear.
You're kidding me.
No, it's true.
No.
And there's a twist to this tale as well, because it was about 20 years ago, and I was in a restaurant in Bristol, and I sat there, and this guy over on the other side of the restaurant. And I'm thinking, no, can't be. And I went up to him and I said, excuse me, are you Antonio Fargas? Which, of course, is his name. And he said, yeah. He said, do you know what? No one else has ever addressed me by my real name before. So
that's brilliant.
Yes. So there we go. He said everyone always calls me. Everyone always goes, "Yo, Huggy Bear." So there we go. So I made a. That's one of my super stardom claims to fame.
I think that's just the best claim to fame I've ever heard. Fancy in a restaurant in Bristol of all places.
Yeah, absolutely.
My God.
And that's second only to me asking Peter Gabriel a question he couldn't answer.
Oh yes, I remember this.
Yes.
Yeah, I do remember this.
Which was, what car is on the cover of your first album?
Yes, that's right.
So, and he couldn't. Yeah. Well, he took him a while, but so
there
you go. I'm the weird person who asks weird questions to people.
That's fantastic.
But sadly, I never had the chance to ask David Soul any weird questions.
He does have a dodgy moustache on that album sleeve, though.
Yes,
it was the
'70s, Mike. You're allowed. You're allowed that, weren't you, back then?
Yes.
He was. But he did. He wasn't just Hutch, was he? And Kenneth Hutchinson, Detective Kenneth Hutchinson. He was He was in all sorts of stuff that we never really got in the UK because we only got really Starsky and Hutch, didn't we?
We did. Yes.
So he was in that. Was he in Magnum Force, the Clint Eastwood film?
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was that one. Great film.
I've seen him in a couple of other films. I'm sure I saw him in some scary movie once about witches or something.
Yes.
But there we are.
There we go. But before we, so we'd just like to say, rest in peace. Thank you for the memories,
yes.
Hutch.
Yeah.
That's great. And now I think we have to get back.
Yes. We've mentioned this before. We got a complaint from somebody that they tuned in and obviously didn't know our waffling channel very well and complained that it was 6 minutes before we talked about anything to do with hi-fi. I think we're even more than that now, but there we are. It is what it is. Here we go. So let's go back to our lovely Nagaoka cartridge, which you very kindly just fitted to my name Arrow and got the Linn fired up and running after far too long. My Autophon died.
And I have to say, your Linn LP12 and Arrow sounds great.
It's a formidable combination.
Really does.
It's an amazingly good combination. You said it's greater than some of the parts, and it's so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
It works really, really well. What I find amazing about it, and particularly about the Arrow, is you can put a relatively inexpensive non-moving coil cartridge in. Yeah. I'm very cautious with my terminology there, non-moving coil.
See what you did there, Mike? Very good.
And it sounds really amazing.
Yeah.
I reckon that is squeezing the last drop out of that Nagaoka cartridge. And boy, what a great cartridge. It just goes to show, you don't have to spend, thousands of pounds to get a really, really good sound.
Yeah.
And this thing was just sounding awesome, wasn't it? I mean, it had proper bass, it had dynamics, it had space, room.
That's because we weren't using your quads.
No, true. We're using my Isobarics. Yeah. But they were singing. They were absolutely singing. The best I've heard them sound in ages, actually. So
it did sound very good.
Yes, and stone cold as well. Straight out the box.
So I reviewed, I think a while back now, the Nagaoka MP500.
Yes,
which
I
is
that.
About I think it was about £750 roughly.
Yes, which is a lot for a non-moving coil.
Absolutely, an awful lot for a non-moving coil.
Yes,
and it blew me away. I loved it.
You remember you talking about it when you were reviewing it. Yeah.
So basically, the MP Nagaoka MP range is topped off by the 500, goes all the way down to the 100, which is roughly £100, I think.
Yep.
And the MP-110 110 is 150, and the 110 is the sort of new version, modern version of the MP-11. And you had an MP-11.
I had an MP-11 boron, and I had that I think it was probably I bought a Linn. I bought a second-hand Linn with a was it the LVV, which was the L-shaped tone arm? Do you remember that?
Yep. I mean S-shaped.
Sorry, beg your pardon. S-shaped tone arm. My mistake.
Basic LVV.
LVV, that's right. And it had an MP-11 on it, which was sort of a bit on its last legs, but it sounded really nice actually. It was a cartridge I really liked, and what I should have done, to be honest, I should have just changed the the stylus, because obviously
Yeah.
you can do that with these, which is
Yeah.
which is a real bonus. Interestingly, and we're talking about claims to fame and meeting Antonio Fargas. My first ever Linn I bought from a guy on Edgware Road. There used to be a second-hand hi-fi shop there, which I used to. Oh my God, I could have lived in there. And
Could have.
it could have, yeah. And it belonged to one of the Doctor Who's.
Oh wow.
Now the guy did tell me which one it was, and I can't remember, but it was pre-John Pertwee.
Right.
So it would have been sort of, one of the very
Patrick
early Doctors.
Troughton
Could have
or
been someone like
yeah.
that. Yeah, absolutely. So and yeah, that was my first Linn.
Wow.
It was really nice, but it ended up being like Trigger's broom, because I replaced pretty much everything except the plinth.
Yeah.
Over the years with the Valhalla kit, the Nirvana kit, and all of the other bits and bobs.
Yeah.
So it didn't really bear any resemblance. But that Nagaoka cartridge in it was a cracker.
Yeah.
An absolute cracker.
Yeah.
And so is this one.
Yeah.
This one's really lovely.
Well, they were all the rage in the 80s. The MP-11s,
Yes.
the Borons especially.
Yeah.
I think there was even a Stilton modified one with a
There was.
a sort of metal body
Yes.
on top. But there's something special about them, and the reason is, I think one of the reasons is that, as Mike says, they're not a moving coil, but they're not a moving magnet. So MP stands for moving permalloy, and it's at this point, having watched Blue Peter for all my childhood, I'm going to try and do a diagram, but with some handy household implements.
I'm just intrigued. I'm intrigued. Can I just say, and talking about, because I'm quite enjoying our links in this riff, but claim to fame again, the latest Blue Peter presenter lives in my village here. So,
wow,
how cool is that?
That's very cool.
Haven't met her yet, but she's but there we are. Seen her around.
Well, there you go.
There we go. Anyway, we digress. Why have you got a...
You should come out and say, hello, I'm more famous than you are at the moment.
That's right, yeah. Why have you got a chopstick?
Right, so this is not just...
Is this for me?
No. Hands off my chopstick. This is not just a chopstick. This is a chopstick for cooking. What are you laughing at, Mike?
Hands off my chopstick. Just sounds wrong on every level.
Well, don't tell that to the Blue Peter presenter, whatever you do. And anyway, before I so rudely interrupted, so the reason for this, viewers, is that this is a cantilever. Well, it's not literally a cantilever. It represents a cantilever.
It's a chopstick. Yeah.
It's a chopstick. Nothing gets past you, Mike. So anyway, so there we go. And that's pretend, viewers. That's a chopstick. No. Cantilever. Thank you. And so what does a cantilever do? Obviously it kind of wheels around in the groove, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So how is sound made? Well, with a moving magnet, let's imagine this handy Japanese squeezy exercise squeezy thing.
I wonder what it was.
Yeah, it says I think it says "do not swallow" and
good luck with that
in hiragana.
It's massive.
So there you go. But this is not a real magnet, by the way. I just got this because it fits in like that. You see. So there we go.
Thanks for pointing out that's not a real magnet. No one would have ever worked that out.
Well, it was for the benefit of the that you can't say the word I was going to use.
No,
could you?
Fine. No. Okay.
Anyway,
moving on.
For retards, basically.
Okay. So, the word you can't say. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, so with a cantilever, you've got a rubber suspension piece in the middle, and you've got your cantilever going down. Imagine there's a tiny diamond on that. So basically, this is the magnet. Imagine this is the magnet. So it's wiggling around, and it's got this freaking heavy magnet on it.
Yes, yeah.
So basically, that makes it less good at tracing the groove, because it's got this high mass. It's got a high sprung mass, I think it is, you'd say. So on the with the kind of rubber bit there, and so with a moving permalloy cartridge or a moving iron cartridge, it is much more much lighter. So get blue tack there like that. So basically, it's far lighter, and you don't kind of feel. So it moves much better. So if you'd like to put the oven glove on, Mike.
This is a new oven glove.
Yes.
Not like my manky old one that I gave you. I can't believe you're making me wear an oven glove now after I took the mickey out of you so much. There we are.
Yes. So there we go.
Why am I wearing this?
For no reason whatsoever. I just want to get my own back.
I've been completely conned.
Just want to get my own back for you laughing when that Technics SL10 hit me in the nose. So, all right, go on. Just beat a vinyl.
What am I doing? Oh, I see. Okay, so that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. So with a moving, with a little tiny fillet of permalloy there, a little bit of iron, then you've got your magnet and your coils up there. They're not moving. So with a Nagaoka moving permalloy cartridge, it's much easier to trace the record groove that is Mike's hand there, like that. And that's the benefit of moving permalloy, as shown to you by a chopstick and a piece of blue tack.
And an oven glove.
Which I
didn't really need, did I? Let's face
so
it.
the point is, of course, with moving coils, you've got the coil on the top there. The coil's also very light. The permalloy piece at the end with moving permalloy is very light, moving iron. But with moving magnet, you get this freaking heavy magnet, which
So it's like a hybrid.
Yeah,
it's like a hybrid
it's
system.
kind of like a hybrid. So it's kind of trying to get around the problems of moving magnet cartridges without going the full moving coil.
Well, it's really clever, I think, and I think I know it's not a brand new system, obviously, but it's not many people have adopted it, and I think that's a bit of a shame because it allows you to change the stylus really easily, doesn't it? Because you just unplug it and do all these things. It sounded great. We played "Happiness Is Easy" from Talk, which was fantastic. We played Ricky Lee Jones' first album. Amazing.
Don't Give Up on Us Baby by David Salt.
I was going to mention that. We also played some Fleetwood Mac as well.
Yeah.
Sounding amazing.
All those classic really 80s and 70s albums.
It was a bit, yes, it was a bit of an 80s.
A very analog-tastic.
It was, yeah, and I've really enjoyed it through my Fenestra preamp. We're going to do a riff on my Fenestra preamp because that's really cool. We'll hold that one for later.
Yeah.
But just a lovely sound. How much is it?
Yeah, it's 150 quid.
That's a hi-fi bargain.
It's a really, I think it's a great bargain. So it is a, if you think about everyone's kind of entry-level moving magnet these days, Audio-Technica AT VM95.
Yes.
And that's like 30, 40 quid. Well, this is a big step up.
It's massive. It's massive. It's absolutely superb. Yeah. It's like a sort of low-end moving core. It really is. It's a super sound.
Absolutely. It's like a kind of, poor man's moving core in a way.
It's super nice.
So I think it's got a sort of it's got a natural and delicate sound that almost all moving coils that I've heard don't have. Sorry, moving magnets that I've heard don't have. It's got a kind of delicacy to the treble that is really special, and a kind of fluidity and ease as well.
I just was blown away by it. I just thought it did so many things so well. It's got no real faults, has it? It's got a great bass. It's really open. It's really dynamic. It sounds superb. My question to you though is who would use it? I mean, for me, I can see if I had a Riga 3 and I needed a cartridge, or maybe an upgrade from an AT, I think this would be a fabulous cartridge to fit on something like a Riga 3 or a project turntable.
Yep.
That kind of ilk. It maybe going back in time, if you had sort of some of the the 80s, 90s turntables like the Revolver, the System Deck, the basic Linn, that kind of thing. It would be really good, wouldn't it? It's a perfect upgrade for you.
So
absolutely perfect.
I think its flaws are ones of omission. Its sins are ones of omission. So you don't get kind of moving core levels of micro detail. No, you don't get a huge extended treble with sort of sparkling highs, etc.
Yeah.
But obviously, with an MP-500, you do actually get that.
Okay.
If you've got,
but that's £700, isn't it?
Yeah, 750, 800 these days.
Okay, there we are.
But it doesn't have any flaws that are like parts of its character which are really unpleasant.
No.
So
no, not at all.
It's not kind of nasal and hard.
Yeah.
It doesn't kind of sting you. Tracks really well, I think. Tracks really securely, didn't it?
Got some funky tech in it.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think what you were saying was the body of it is pretty much identical to its expensive big brother.
Yeah.
It's just a couple of tweaks here and there, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the sort of internals of it, as it were.
Yes.
Obviously, the big brother is much better made.
Yeah.
With a better body and metal body.
I really want to hear that now because I'm so impressed by this £150 cartridge.
Well, in terms of low output cartridges. High output cartridges. for me, you've got the two best ones are the Autophon MM Black 250 LVB, which is around £1,000 roughly. Last time I looked, and you've got the Nagaoka MP500, I think. And you've also got a high output moving coil, which is the Dynavector DV10X4. It's 10X5. Sorry, 10X5 now, which is about 600-ish, that kind of thing. So those are your kind of best, high output cartridges. In back when we were kind of hi-fi rookies, then the best sort of moving magnet was a kind of Riga R100, wasn't it? Or A&R.
Linn K9 came out after that, didn't it?
A&R P77, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was. I had what did I have? I had a Supex SMM100 Stilton. Actually, I thought that was quite good.
That was a great cartridge.
That was a really nice card. I've still got that. It'd be nice to see if I can get a tip for that. Actually, we'll do a riff on that as well, a retro riff. Anyway, look, let's do a riffometer on the Nagaoka.
So I'll just conclude by saying that it's it's a sort of medium compliance, medium to highish compliance. So it works really well in a medium mass tone arm, like an arrow, for example.
We'll just go and buy an arrow.
Which is 11 grams effective mass. I can't remember what SME is off. I think it's SME5 is 10.5 grams. ECOS I think is 11.5 off the top of my head. Zeta, remember the Zeta?
Yes, I do.
That's a massive thing. That's 16 grams effective mass. That would not work so well. But all these kind of mid to high range compliance arms.
RB300.
RB300 is a little bit lighter, but that would work well in that. So basically, what I'm saying is it works in a wide spectrum of arms, not too high or not too low mass, but middle-ish. It's got 5 millivolts output, so it's got a decent output, so you don't get any hiss on the phono stage because it's a very low output, or you get less hiss. So everything to me is right about it. The stylus is a nice elliptical. Everything is just great for the money. It's fantastic. So I think it's one of the best moving magnets I've heard at the price.
Unbelievable.
By a long way.
So taking that price into consideration.
I'm going to give it 9.
I've got to give it 9 too. It's absolutely cracking. And I'm not even sure where I'm dropping the point. So really, really great. So fantastic. Great riff. Great to do a cartridge at last. It's been long overdue, and I hope there's a few people out there who are a little bit like us, who have an affection for cartridges and have enjoyed a little bit of that. So we look all forward, obviously, as always, to see you at the next one. But thanks for watching this episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff. Bye-bye.
Bye.